You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
How do and welcome to the Chuck Cash Radio Show. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be taking a look back at the top stories and events in the week beginning Monday the 24th of December. Well, I say 30 minutes. Due to indulgences over the holiday period, the show tonight may be a little shorter. Hey, it's Christmas. I've been busy. Plus, nothing really happens during the festive season. Well, nothing that gets reported anyway. It's because they know we're all distracted. Which is probably the reason that magician Paul Daniels posted a confession on his blog that, you're gonna like this, not a lot. He may have accidentally copped off with an underage girl or two during his showbiz career. No, not a lot. Paul Daniels, the magician, most famous for creating the illusion that he's had a full head of hair for the last 40 years, has flirted with danger with his controversial twist on the classic sawing the lady in half trick. Daniels' unique twist is, instead of sawing one woman in half, instead he squeezes two young girls into the back of a car to try and make one whole lady. So it would seem.
On the radio now.
NRA supporters in the United States have started a petition to have Piers Morgan deported after he speaks out against the country's current gun laws. The campaign gains tens of thousands of online signatures, only to be eclipsed by a campaign in the UK where a growing number are asking America to please keep him. There's even a campaign calling the NRA's bluff, daring them to shoot the bastard. Piers Morgan called for a ban on automatic assault weapons and asked for 100% background checks on all sales of weapons. Wait a minute, that's what angered the gun lobby so much? That's what made over 65,000 people sign a petition to the President of the United States to have a TV chat show host deported. What he's calling for sounds like common sense to me. If anything, it's a measured response. In fact, to put it in language that the NRA might understand, it's an absolute no-brainer. Screw you, NRA, for wasting my time and forcing me to support Piers Morgan for the first time ever. Christmas Eve sees the annual last-minute dash to the shops to pick up Wellington boots and canoes in time for the New Year's sales, as 200 flood warnings are called for the south of England and Wales. Alex Ferguson calls for harsh punishment for a Wigan player after the ball was kicked at a Man United striker, Robin van Persie. Ferguson said the lad could have been killed. He went on to point out he also thought the referee's whistle was deafeningly loud and the floodlights could have blinded his players, not to mention his goalie's hands being red raw from all the shots and crosses and stuff.
I said, here's Chuck Cash is on your radio now.
Christmas Day, and the Queen's speech is completely ruined after being advertised with trailers throughout Christmas Eve, spoiling the illusion for an entire nation. Since when was the Queen's speech in need of leaking in advance of broadcast? It's not a frigging budget. The broadcast of the speech was in 3D for the first time, so we were able to talk over, sleep through, avoid or ignore the Queen in a whole extra dimension. The Queen gives her speech on Christmas Day just to let us know she's still alive, as does the Pope. Also still alive, Nelson Mandela, who was discharged from hospital, Margaret Thatcher, who wasn't, and George Bush Sr., who was admitted to an intensive care on Thursday. Sadly, Jack Klugman, actor, didn't make it out of intensive care. Klugman, who played opposite Walter Matthau in The Odd Couple and a forensic pathologist in the hit TV series Quincy, will now be making that one last trip to the coroner's office, as he dies on Tuesday at the age of 90 from natural causes. Or so the preliminary autopsy results would lead us to believe. But call me crazy, I've got a hunch on this one that the death wasn't as straightforward as it may first appear. The BBC wins the Christmas Day TV ratings war, with EastEnders beating out Coronation Street. The British public preferring bigamy to plain old infidelity, and would rather see Eddie Royal in his pants than Downton Abbey's Hugh Bonneville in his pants. Boxing Day is the biggest day on the hunting calendar. Over 300 hunts taking place. That's hunt with a silent C. Government Minister for the Environment, Owen Paterson, admits he won't be able to try and overturn the hunting ban for at least another year, but it's still his party's intention. Really? Not happy with plunging us back into the dark ages financially, you want to morally bankrupt the country as well. Hunt supporters have been calling for the, quote, overly oppressive anti-hunting law to be overturned for the entire 7 years it's been in existence, and comes just a week after the one and only RSPCA conviction in the entire 7 years of the ban. Yeah, that sounds like a very oppressive law, almost harassment, and of a minority too. You must be feeling quite hounded. Poor little hunts.
On the radio now.
And a Boxing Day football fixture list where goals were scored. Pundits with limited vocabularies turned the mundane and predictable into the unbelievable, and Alex Ferguson had a good old moan about the referee. Again. On Thursday, President Obama cut short his Hawaiian holiday, returning to Washington for budget talks to help America avoid the fiscal cliff. In Britain, most take holidays at this time of year to avoid the festive cliff. Did he do a song this year? No. Must have other things on his mind. Chancellor George Osborne has awarded £12 million to Cambridge University for research into the new wonder material, graphene. Nanotechnologists say graphene is lighter, stronger and has better conductivity than any other metal testable. It's hundreds of times stronger than steel, and electrons whip through it faster than the chips on your computer. The combination of mechanical and electronic properties make it a solution looking for a problem. Which all sounds very exciting, until you hear graphene was discovered back in 2005 and is currently used for lead in pencils. I have a fear we may have just spent £12 million to invent the unbreakable pencil. 30-year-old papers released under the Official Secrets Act show that Margaret Thatcher was taken completely by surprise when Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands in April '82. You get a fascinating insight into what went on 30 years ago when you read these documents for the very first time, said a very confused Margaret Thatcher, who no longer remembers anything. Which should come in handy for when the sinking of the Belgrano details come out. The last time the BBC questioned Mrs. Thatcher over the sinking of the Belgrano, her husband Dennis came out swinging, saying her wife had been stitched up by the Puffs and the Trotskys at the BBC. Ah, I miss Dennis. Sadly, as we know, the relationship between the Conservative Party and the BBC would decline greatly over the coming years and would never again be so friendly. A tough new anti-smoking campaign is launched in the UK in preparation for the New Year's resolutions season. I've seen the ads and they're very compelling. In fact, I'm now hunting the shops high and low to find those fancy new cigarettes that grow a tumour on the side and when you smoke, they look cool. Due to the brevity of news this week, instead I'll take the opportunity to play some crockery for you. For the uninitiated, crockery is a style of music I've made up myself. It's my own Fenland blend of country and rock. Crockery. In 2008, me and the Fenland Cowboys unpacked our crockery in front of Simon Cowell on Britain's Got Talent. Simon Cowell described us as his least favourite act ever. We were very proud. It went out on ITV and you can still find it on YouTube. And what song did we play in front of 1,500 people, the TV cameras, Amanda Holden, and yes, Piers Morgan? It was this one. It's called I Just Put My Teeth in Your Cup.
You done tore out my heart, and you stomped that sucker flat. I just wasted 18 months or more that I ain't getting back. You made toothpicks from the timbers of my ever-loving heart. That's all it's getting back together that's been tearing us apart. But I kiss you goodnight in the morning. I'll turn off that light when I'm up. If in the night you need a drink, I suggest you use the sink. I just put my teeth in your cup. Now would someone pass the hammer, 'cause that flies back on your head. If I hit the bugger hard enough, I'll kill the fucker dead. If I'd shot you when I'd planned to, I'd be out of jail by now. My heart is pure, your teeth are stained. I'd rather kiss my sow. But I kiss you goodnight in the morning. I turn off that light when I'm up. If in the night you need a drink, I suggest you use the sink. I just put my teeth in your cup. Come on. Now when you enter the room, would you please walk backwards? So it looks like to me you're walking out. 'Cause I'm kissing you goodbye, my darling. So could you please remove your tongue from my mouth? But I kiss you goodnight in the morning. I turn off that light when I'm up. If in the night you need a drink, I suggest you use the sink. 'Cause I just put my teeth in your cup. Come on. Hip, 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 hip. Cause I kiss you goodnight in the morning. I turn off that light when I'm up. If in the night you need a drink, I suggest you use the sink. I just put my teeth in your cup. And I kiss you goodnight in the morning. I'll turn off that light in a bit. 'Cause if you really need some water, I suggest you really oughta run the tap first, 'cause I've just pissed in the sink. Run the tap first, 'cause I've just pissed. Tap first, 'cause I've just pissed. Run the tap first, I just pissed in the sink. And I haven't taken the washing up out neither.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What? Chuck Cash on the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
There ain't a lot of local news this week, so instead I'll give some simple tips and advice if you find yourself on your own at this time of year. Right, first off, save all your Christmas cards each year, then you can put them up next year to seem a bit more popular. Alternatively, you can also go out at this time of year and find some cheap cards in the sales. You can put them up instead, that'd be alright. You can even have a lot of fun filling them in with imaginary names of friends, dead pets and relatives. I sometimes make up the odd celebrity too. I've still got a Marks and Spencer's card on my sideboard from the American President Richard Nixon. But don't overdo it on the decorations, because that can get a bit depressing. Just a bit of tinsel and the odd party popper's fine. Ideally, you'd want to avoid things like Christmas crackers. Whenever I want to cheer myself up, I often borrow my friend's car child seat and put it on the roof rack of my car and drive around a bit. Everybody waves, toot their horns. It makes me feel ever so special. Just an idea. Oh, and also keep an eye out on anyone if you think they're on their own, especially if they're elderly, because, you know, you got to look out for them. Buggers. Last winter, the old lady opposite, she was making them snow angels in her front garden, you know, laying flat on her back with her arms and legs going up and down. I thought, silly bugger. Well, when I saw her there 2 hours later, I thought, hello, she'll be getting a death of cold if she carries on. Her arms and legs weren't moving as much when I looked out before bedtime, but yep, you guessed it. They found her stone cold dead in the morning, in the same spot. Frostbite, I knew it. And that brought back all such memories. and brought back memories of when Stan died last summer. Yep, he was sunbathing on the allotment patch. I saw him face down, fully clothed amongst the broccoli. I thought, silly old sod. And then when I saw him there a few hours later, I thought, that's odd. He'll never get a tan with his shirt on. Plus, in the whole 4 hours, I ain't seen him turn over once. No wonder the back of his neck looked so red raw. And yet, I was right again. They found him the very next day, dead, still amongst the broccoli. Yeah, I don't know what it is about me and death. I seem to attract it somehow. So anyway, keep an eye out for those old folk who are on their own this time of year. Oh, I've been trying to keep an eye on my neighbour. She's not old, she's gorgeous. Yeah. Unfortunately, she's made it a bit more difficult. That's probably a deterrent from when I tried to peer out her topless in the summer. She's grown herself a whacking great Lowlandi. Oh well. I suppose I'll get over it. Maybe a ladder.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio now.
People sometimes ask me, Chuck, they say, Chuck, do you ever write anything serious? Any serious songs? And I say, yes. I've written this one. Comedy may be my world, but I do have one serious number in my repertoire. I'd like to play that for you right now. That was 12, my only serious number.
You're listening to Chuck Cash on the radio.
Stop it.
Chuck Cash is on the radio. What, Chuck Cash? On the radio? Yes, Chuck Cash is on the radio. He's on the radio now.
Well, that's it for this week, and indeed for this year. The next time we'll come together, it will be 2013. So whatever you're doing, do it safely and enjoy yourselves. Take care. No nights.
I said, yes, Chuck Cash is on